Welcome to the Brykks shithouse. We've got season 6 is here, and along with having a new operator I can slap my meat to, we've got a new weapon in the AS Val. Used to date a girl named Val, and much like her, this weapon can take down some dudes, I'll tell you that for free. But you know, that's enough of the jokes. 2 jokes is too many. We gotta get serious here. We are gonna do an absolute extravaganza of comparison to this weapon. We're going to compare it to the Kilo, the M4A1, and the CR56. This will give us a very broad generalization of what this gun brings to the table. Along with that, you've got kind of the pair guns for these guns. So, you know, we're comparing it to the Kilo, but the Kilo is pretty comparable to the M13. We're comparing it to the M4. The M4 is pretty comparable to the Grau. So you're going to get a really good grasp of this weapon by the end of the video if you decide to stick around and endure me talking for the next 10 minutes, which is a pretty big feat in its own. We're going to look at the damage of this gun, we're going to look at the range, we're going to talk about the fire rate, the time to kill, bullet velocity, fucking, you know, we'll make up some more stats just so we have more time to spend together. This is going to be a Warzone only comparison, but there are some overlaps in multiplayer, so you will be able to learn some stuff about how this gun performs in multiplayer. With that being said, there's also some preliminaries. This gun has a built-in suppressor, that's pretty freaking hot. Now don't ejaculate just yet, because if you look at the mag size, the biggest mag we can get with this gun is a 30 round mag, and when it comes to Warzone, that's a no bueno. So should we just stop the comparison right now? This gun's going to be shit in Warzone. Nah, we're not going to do that. It's not about the size of the mag, it's how you use it. And this gun, let me tell you, does this thing know how to use it? Let's get things started here with the damage up at close range. With the VAL, we're going to be doing 47 points of damage to the head, making it a 6-shot kill. Moving down to the chest, we're going to be doing a 7-shot kill. The body is going to be a 9-shot kill, and moving down to the limbs, it's also going to be a 9-shot kill. Let's compare this to the Kilo first, and here we're going to see the only difference is going to be at the titty section. It's going to require 2 more shots to kill for the Kilo, or in other words, it's going to require 2 less bullets to kill for the VAL. So therefore we have colored it in pink, giving it the advantage there. Now because we've got so many guns to compare, I want to streamline this process, so let's just cut to the chase. Here we can see all 3 different ranges for the VAL compared to the Kilo. I want to point out that the VAL, similar to the M13 we talked about the other day, doesn't actually have a long-range damage profile. It carries its medium-range damage profile into the long range, making its medium and long-range damage identical. So as we talked about earlier, at close range, the VAL is going to kill in 2 less bullets to the chest. As we move to medium range, the VAL is going to kill in 1 less shot to the head, but 2 less shots to the titties. Moving on up to long range, the VAL is going to kill in 3 less shots to the head, 5 less shots to the chest, and then 3 less shots to the body and the limbs. So the VAL is obviously a very powerful weapon when compared to the Kilo. Let's take a look at our next weapon, the M4A1. We get the exact same situation at close range. The VAL is going to kill in 2 less bullets to the chest. Medium range is different this time. The VAL is going to kill in 1 less shot to the head, 3 less shots to the chest, as well as 1 less shot to the body and the limbs. That's a little bit different than the Kilo. But we get back to familiarity with the long range. We've got the exact same situation there as we did with the Kilo. Now if we look at our last weapon, the CR56, we finally have a weapon that is more powerful than the VAL. At close range, the VAL is going to require 1 more shot to kill at every part of the body. Moving on to medium range, we've got 2 extra shots to kill to the head and chest, 3 extra shots to kill to the body and the limbs. However, unlike the CR56, the VAL doesn't have a long range, it's basically just its medium range, so we don't see too big of a difference here. We've got 1 more bullet to kill to the head and chest, 2 more bullets to kill to the body and the limbs. So this is a lot of data to take in all at once, so hopefully the little breakdown made this a little bit easier to digest. But as of right now, you can see that the VAL is a pretty powerful assault rifle, and that's to be expected considering the biggest magazine we can have for it is 30 bullets. So with the limited bullets we have, those suckers better be doing as much damage as they possibly can be. The VAL looks like it's probably going to be one of the more powerful assault rifles, but it's not the most powerful, and I don't think it's going to come close to some of the weapons we have. Definitely not the CR56 here. But damage is just one thing. We've got to talk about a lot of more factors and really get a grasp on what type of gun this VAL really is. Let's get into range now. Here we've got the VAL. I'm going to take a shot, and based on the health settings, we're not going to get the kill. But if I take 1 step forward now, we're going to get the kill. So 32 meters marks the distance between close and medium range. Now I like to visualize these ranges on shoot house from spawn wall to spawn wall, everyone's favorite line of sight. So continuing on with the VAL, we've got the close range extends out to 32 meters as we just discussed. Anything past this line is going to be in the medium range, and this gun does not have a long range as we discussed earlier, so just close range and medium range. So if we compare this to our first weapon again, the Kilo, we can see that they have the exact same close range distance at 32 meters. The Kilo is going to enter long range at 55 meters. So similar range profiles between these two weapons. That close range is the exact same, and I'm sure if the VAL actually had a long range, it would be similar to the Kilo, but it does not. So we can expect the VAL to be superior here in range for these weapons. For the M4A1, it's going to have a little bit shortened range compared to the Kilo, so giving the VAL an even bigger advantage over the M4A1. Lastly, we've got this CR56, and we see the biggest disadvantage here compared to those other weapons. The CR56 has some pretty shit range, not going to lie there to you. Pretty sure the VAL is kind of a little insulted that the CR56 did not need to bring its A game when it came to range. It thought that it could just get away with having this abysmal shit range. But yeah, the VAL is packing some heat as well when it comes to range, not just in damage. So you gotta wonder, where exactly is the downfall in this weapon besides the magazine size? And before we move on to our next topic, we can just slap this in with range. I want to talk about bullet velocity, something I noticed when I was testing this gun. So I just want to show you guys very quickly here, starting with the Kilo. When the screen turns color, that is when the bullet has hit the target. You can see that the Kilo hits the target almost immediately after shooting, whereas the VAL's got some distance to go there. Same situation with the M4A1, it's going to hit the target before the VAL does. And I'm sure you can guess that we're going to see the same thing with the CR56. So the bullet velocity is definitely a disadvantage for the VAL. It's got some great damage, it's got some range, but how effective can this range be used if the bullet velocity is not up to par with these other assault rifles? I just wanted to throw this part in here. Let's talk about time to kill now, but before we can do that, we must determine the fire rate of these weapons. Doing some quick math yields us an impressive fire rate of 920 rounds per minute for the VAL. That's pretty fucking bang, I'm not gonna lie there. Compared to the other assault rifles in this video, you can see that the VAL is taking the cake once again with fire rate. How could this be? Now that we've got that figured out, we can calculate the time to kill. So let's bring up the range from the other section. Now there's 4 parts of the body that these guns do different damage to, so let's start with the head. So anything you see in pink means that the VAL will kill quicker, it'll have a quicker time to kill. Anything in red means that the Kilo will have a quicker time to kill. So our first range is 32 meters, that is going to be the close range cutoff for both of these weapons, and you can see that the VAL will have a quicker time to kill. That means that within this range, when you shoot towards the head, the VAL is going to kill your enemies quicker in Warzone. Moving on up to 55 meters, that is going to be the medium to long range cutoff for the Kilo, and once again, anything in this range to the head, the VAL is going to kill quicker. And lastly, we can extend that range out to about 80 meters. That's an arbitrary range. That's just basically overall assault rifle effectiveness range. And you can see once again that the VAL is going to kill quicker. Now let's unravel this entire graph, and spoiler alert, it's a pretty frickin' stupid, boring graph. As you can see, it's just pink, which means that the VAL is always going to kill quicker than the Kilo. Now that's pretty fucking impressive. I've never seen something like that in these weapon comparison videos. This VAL is almost in a game of its own here, but just to play devil's advocate, remember those long ranges are going to be harder to connect with the slower bullet velocity, and I'm assuming bigger bullet drops. So yes, this is technically correct, but until you get a feel for this weapon, you will understand exactly, you know, what the sacrifice you're making for this fast time to kill is. Let's compare it to the M4A1, and we see absolutely no change here. The VAL, once again, is a very fast-firing, powerful weapon. That time to kill is going to be tough to beat, so once again, across the board, the VAL is going to kill quicker than the M4A1. Lastly, let's take a look at the CR56, and we finally see some deviation here, but once again, not too much. So the CR56 is only going to kill quicker when shooting to the head and the chest in between that 32 to 36 meter range. Also within that range, you've got a gray section for the body and the limbs. That means that both guns will basically kill at the exact same time, so no one takes the advantage there. But yes, once again, the VAL is a time to kill machine. It just melts people. It's blowing my mind. I haven't even used the gun yet, and I'm already I'm soaked. We finally made it to the end. The last thing we're going to talk about is recoil. Let's take a look, see how they perform. Look at that VAL go. Jesus Christ, that thing's moving. So it could only be expected that the VAL was going to have some kick. The gun just seemed a little too good to be true so far. But sloppy recoil control is a small price to pay for the gift that is the VAL. Here we can see very unique kind of S-type curve with the VAL compared to the other recoil patterns. It's definitely got some type of horizontal recoil, but the vertical recoil is really off the charts. Pretty similar to the CR56 recoil pattern, just a little bit more flair to this one, but yeah, clearly recoil is maybe the weaker point of the VAL. But that's up to you to decide if this even matters after the complete ass whooping we've seen the VAL hand out. That's all I want to talk about today. We've really dissected this gun and we've compared it against the best of the best. So hopefully if you're like me and you've never even had an opportunity to use this gun, I'm still level tier 1 for crying out loud. I haven't got to get my hands on Season 6, been working on this video for the last few days. But after this little inspection, I think I got a good grasp, a good idea of what this gun brings to the table, and I gotta say, I'm looking forward to use it, especially in Warzone. I think in multiplayer this thing is gonna shred, no questions asked. And when it comes to Warzone, this gun looks very good, and I do like the pros and cons of this weapon. It's a very unique weapon on paper, and I'm sure it performs very similarly to how we broke it down today. So with that being said, I'm done making this video. I got too much other shit to do. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. You guys take care.